The Board of Directors of the 29th Palms Water District, January 24th, 2024 at 4 p.m. or 1600. The agenda, this meeting may be viewed on the district's website or www.29palmswater.net. The board reserves the right to discuss only or to take action on any item on the agenda. It's nice to see you with us, Mr. Director Arthur. All right. We call to order. Cindy, could we have a roll call?
Director Arthur?
Present.
Director Coghill?
Here.
Director Giannini?
Here.
Director Leeser?
Here.
Director Pitts? Here.
Pledge of Allegiance. Matt, I think you led us in the Pledge of Allegiance, but do it again.
All right. Everybody stand. In your heart, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Matt. One more time. You just happen to be the first base now. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda we need to be concerned with?
There are no.
There are none. Public comments. Please fill out a request to be heard. Public comment. Cindy about that. Moving right along. All right. Item number 1. Consideration of resolution 24.01. Additions and I can barely read this. Statement of investment policy.
Good afternoon, President Giannini and members of the board. Today before you is the district's annual investment policy and resolution 2401 adopting the annual statement of investments. This policy is designated for the general manager as the management's responsibility of the policy. As you may remember last year, the district added California Class Investments along with LAIF as the 2 investment pools in which the district may invest into. Before you, we did have an error in the packet, so the new investment policy or the updated policy is in there, adding the class from last year as well. I just wanted to put that out there. So after discussion, we'd be looking for a recommendation to approve Resolution 2401, adopting the annual statement and investment policy, but up for discussion.
Do you have any questions, Director Wood?
No.
Director Arthur?
No.
Director Leeser?
No different from what I already read? How big a difference?
Like I said, that there's a paragraph about class investment that was not added. We added it into the new investment policy.
Okay.
Or the updated policy, that was the same, that was the policy from last year.
Okay, no questions?
The one with the staple in your hand.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Director Cocker? Or comments? All right. Then we need a resolution.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2401. Very dashboard.
Thank you. And Director Arthur seconded it already. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Or none? All right. Item number 2. Approval of master service agreement between the 29th Palms Water District and Kenneth Jenks Consultants Incorporated.
Again, before you is a master service agreement between the district and Kennedy Jenks. Kennedy Jenks has worked for the district for over 20 years, and they're considered the district's in-house engineering firm. Kennedy Jenks is involved with yearly projects such as water treatment plant, groundwater monitoring and reporting, salt nutrient management plan and reporting, annual water loss audit, and they help us with grant funds along with other things that were in the master service agreement. The master service agreement would be from 2024 to 2027, a span of 3 years, with it not to exceed $150,000. One of the reasons why the master service agreement was important to me, as we go through some of our files, we do budget augmentations, and there's a lot of these with Kennedy Jenks that are $25,000, $25,000, and I wanted to kind of bring them all together so that you guys it was kind of a more transparent and give us 3 years with Kennedy Jenks. So also a couple things that I just want to let you guys know is Kennedy Jenks will still be able to bid contract engineering jobs outside of this agreement. So that's why it was also important to encompass the everyday tasks that they're already helping us with annually, and then providing also that you guys are aware, I've got a big job going out for the redundant reservoir at the treatment plant. Kennedy Jenks will also be bidding on those kind of projects as well. So again, the recommendation would just be that you guys and first have a discussion and that you guys would approve the master service agreement with Kennedy Jenks.
Questions or comments, Director?
Just clarifying question, I see under fiscal impacts not to exceed $150,000 per year for 3 years. Thank you.
Director is that it, Director Woods?
Yes.
Okay, Director Arthur?
Is this the first time we're renewing this, or have we done business with them prior? Because I know we've done,
We've done business. Here's what I'm seeing in files. I want us to be a little bit more transparent where we have beginning dates and close dates. This was a way for Kennedy Jenks to continue to help us with our monitoring, our engineering reports, but put it all together where you guys see it in one contract. Not these budget amendments that are floating around, all these in their contracts. So it's bringing, multiple things that Kennedy Jenks does for us into one large contract. Yeah.
Yes, Director Woods?
Yeah, one more question. Matt, could you, real quickly, on the first page of the agreement, so it outlines the projects that Kennedy Jenks will provide engineering for, support for, reporting for, right? Could you just really briefly talk about what those things are that are listed here that they would be doing that would account for $150,000 a year?
Sure. So the wastewater, the first project on top of the scope of work, is that what you're referring to? Exhibit A, scope of work?
Well, actually, it was just outlining the projects in the
In the background?
yeah.
Okay, so scope of work also has them labeled out, but WPT is water treatment plant, groundwater monitoring reporting. So what we have to do with those monitoring ponds out there is we have to go out and collect data to make sure the ponds aren't leaching back into the aquifer. So KJ, as much as we do the legwork as far as collecting data, collecting water quality, KJ then gets the report and structures it where we can send off to California. So they help us with a lot of reporting there. Project Phoenix monitoring wells, that's, although it's in here, that is a reimbursed because as the city put in Project Phoenix, there was a big septic system put in. We help monitoring the monitoring wells for the septic tank and see which way the leach field is going. We collect the data, we collect the water quality out of those monitoring wells. KJ helps us with the reporting. And if you guys ever want to see the reports, we can get these reports labeled out. They're really in depth on groundwater, water flow from elevations. So elevations also are really important. Salt nutrient management plan is a plan that we have ongoing. Salt nutrient management plan is the salts and the nutrients from wastewater or septic tanks. So the salt nutrient management plan is actually a document between the city and the water district that we come together to say why we're protecting groundwater and the different implementation stages. So salt nutrient management is a big one. Groundwater recharge, anything that we have to do with recharging water and sending water elevations, KJ looks at. Again, hey, different wells are doing certain things. You guys need to pay attention to this well. Why would we be seeing a different water quality or elevation at the treatment plant facility or at your regular wells? So that's the groundwater recharge consulting. Water treatment plant treatment and permitting. When we had to re-permit the well, TP2, to also remove arsenic, KJ was sitting there ready to go to help re-permit. John Egan, another engineer that we use for TP2, ended up helping us with that. We kept them on standby for other permitting issues like well 15 that we're going through right now. KJ's there at a call to say, hey, we need some help to get to the permitting process through the state. Annual water loss audit, we do that every year where we sit down and collect the data. We have to tell them, okay, what we charge out as far as billing, what our production is, what the loss is, and what we're doing to monitoring that and make that lower and lower every year. So they help us with this, 40-page report at the end of the year at the water loss audit. General grant funds, so KJ has a lady, Loren, that helps us look through grant funds. We're looking for any opportunity that we have as a severe disadvantaged community, so grant fund opportunities. And the city sewer project, there is money for the USGS study still out there that is earmarked through the federal grant system. I'll talk about that in my closing a little bit. The Water District is helping try to secure $1.86 million currently, and there's another $1 million on Ober Nolte's earmarked for this year. So it could be up as much as $2.86 million that we're trying to keep in the community towards wastewater. So those different things that we deal with KJ, they're kind of our phone call away, and they're our reporting agency for a lot of these functions.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Is there ever a time when we as a board would see what they're invoicing you for?
Yes, every month we have checks from KJ in the consent calendar.
I know it's in it for that,
But
but
if-
is there specificity in what they've done for the invoice?
What's the deliverable? Correct. Not necessarily, but if like you guys came back to sign checks and said, hey, a deliverable from KJ this month, can you see that? We can definitely get you guys deliverables on. A lot of the reporting that KJ gives to us as a deliverable is a state report that we have to send off almost as soon as we confirm, maybe the city confirms. It's definitely something that you guys are purview to look at and go over with us. So,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
Would they be considered, just to follow up on what Dr. Woods is saying, would Kennedy Jenks be considered like a official clearinghouse as far as the state's concerned for us reporting?
Well, not an official clearinghouse, but like as far as like,
Making sure it's right?
yeah, making sure it's right, making sure we're in compliance. So again, a district like our size doesn't have a compliance officer, so we depend on some of the engineers that we use to help us with compliance. There is a clearinghouse reporting that Mike does monthly. There's an EARS report that we do monthly to tell water data. So as much as a lot of the water data that we get as far as extraction, sales, this is all reported monthly into these clearinghouse programs. KJ is definitely there looking at us going, okay, yes. Or some of the stuff that we do monthly, not necessarily all the time. They're involved with that kind of stuff.
How big would our district have to grow if we were to take on Kennedy Jenks projects on?
On our own, another full-time body, and you would be hiring an engineer, because a lot of this comes, the reason why KJ is helping us with it is they put their engineer stamp on it when we need it to be reported to the state, that we have an engineer stamp going along with it.
Thanks, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, comments?
Yep, on scope of services,
Yes.
on each one of these project names, do we have a statement of work for each of these projects on file or something?
Yeah, we have
Okay.
a statement of work, yeah.
All right, cool. That's all I want to know. No further questions, ma'am?
On to item number 3.
We need
We need to make a motion and approval. Somebody make a motion and somebody second.
I'll make a motion to accept.
master service agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been motion and approved to accept the master service agreement with Kennedy Jenks.
Roll call.
Roll call, Cindy.
Director Arthur,
Yes.
Director Coghill,
Yes.
Director Leeser,
Yes.
Director Woods,
Yes.
Director Giannini.
Yes,
Thank you.
all right. Now we're going to go to item number 3 because I understand it better.
Item number 3, in fiscal year 22-23's budget, district staff was looking to purchase a new excavator trailer. Today before you is the quote from Ditch Witch and Vermeer. Just a little background about Ditch Witch and Vermeer. There's 2 main manufacturers, which is Ditch Witch and Vermeer. The two quotes in front of you are the big quote from Ditch Witch, the big quote from Vermeer, and Vermeer has a third smaller excavator, same size, but kind of on the lower scale, that you don't have a quote for. We didn't believe for what we need it for. It's going to be great out in the field. One thing about this product, Steve and I did some demos. So we went down to Riverside, we went down to Corona. Steve, the mechanic, is here today also to answer questions because he was definitely part of the decision making as well. A little breakdown on the Ditch Witch HX50A versus the Vermeer VX50-800. The gross vehicle weight for the Ditch Witch is 24,000, where the Vermeer is 20,000. The debris tank are both 800 gallons of debris. The water tanks are both 400 gallons of water. We have a 1-year full warranty on both equipment. The total vacuum CFM, so the suction, it's 1,005 for the Ditch Witch, 1,025, although the suction draft, so how I can pull up, 16 foot on the Ditch Witch, 15 foot on the Vermeer. I only threw in some numbers because I know somebody would want to hear some of those numbers on this Ditch Witch. And staff, and Steve is here in the audience to take any questions as well, but staff is making the recommendation after putting our hands to this equipment and kicking the tires that we would go with the Ditch Witch HX50. So we'd be looking for approval.
So why is that? Because after everything you just said, the Ditch Witch costs more, but the other one,
No, the Ditch Witch is a little cheaper.
Ditch was $900.
oh, okay, sorry, my mistake.
Well, and again, I would like to bring Steve up to the mic, see if
Yes.
we have any questions, only because I think he as well, being our mechanic and seeing the two products in front of us at the two manufacturers, so doing some homework. As much as we heard from High Desert and Mission Springs on their Vermeer, after seeing the Ditch Witch and seeing how well built it was, we were trying to go for the beefier equipment, especially with our roads, where this piece of equipment is going to be. So Steve is here also to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Any questions for Steve, Director Woods? Okay.
Do we have any of the operators here this evening? Who will be an operator of this, or?
There's 4 of them in the audience. Now I will say this, for our lead and copper sampling program right now, we've rented one of these, and not a 50. We were renting a 30? Yes. Ditch Witch 30. So we were doing a way smaller excavation. What's happening with these excavators, more insight. Water districts usually have to wait 2 days to dig on the USA ticket. If we have an emergency and we have to start potholing, you can put in a vacuum better than you can put in a piece of equipment. So this is going to give us that opportunity to also have another excavator, although a vacuum, that you can start work kind of right away. You kind of still have to know where things are, and you can't vacuum through lines or suck through lines through the vacuum. But it's going to give us that option to have another piece of equipment that can dig a hole kind of before we can kind of start, although we can call it an emergency and get them there. A big part of the guys, let's say you get a call at midnight, the biggest part is getting the company out to do the emergency locate. This could give us that opportunity to get there and kind of start potholing and doing some little things to prep for the job, although we could. And this is where Steve could really help us. When we went down to Mission Springs and saw their Vermeer in action, they told us they're not even using excavators, backhoes anymore, because this vacuum is so much cleaner. It leaves a cleaner product, the cleanup's faster, and they're actually putting in services at a record time with this excavator trailer. So just bringing it to the treatment plant and using it in our sumps to get water out, or using it on a smaller leak where we can use the vacuum. And when you guys finally see this, because as soon as this comes, this is something I want to show off. This thing is big. It's not like a little tow behind. It's a really big piece of equipment. And I'm just excited to bring it to the district if we have this opportunity to kind of make our equipment list even more secure for years to come. So,
Well, I think it's obvious that I move that we purchase the Ditch Witch HX50A. I move.
I'll second.
I still have questions.
Yeah, I just, if I can.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I withdraw my motion until Randy's
withdraw my
question,
second.
and then I will reinstate my motion.
So instead of using a backhoe, I can suck a ditch
A ditch and put in a
and,
service,
and do a hole
Did you just buy a new
down for like,
backhoe not long ago?
a mini excavator.
I-
The mini excavator does still go out and do a lot of the work. Now, let's say we have a 2-day USA ticket and it's not an emergency.
Yeah.
I would prefer a backhoe.
I can move more
I'm gonna
dirt with
Get the job
backhoe.
done faster.
Yeah.
If we're in a tight spot and that backhoe can't get there, you bring a hose around the wall and you suck out. This is gonna be really important even for the treatment plant. The treatment plant's really important because we do media switch outs inside vessels. We're gonna find ways to, how do we bring this vacuum into our everyday use at the district?
It's neat.
and if I'm understanding this right, we're not gonna have to deal with the dust abatement and wetting down everything while we're doing it, right?
No, wet vacuuming instead of dry vacuuming is what's actually what they prefer. So you can wet vac and you can dry vac. If you dry vac, the filters are gonna get
Yeah.
plugged faster.
Okay.
But there's maintenance required, and with the 30 that we've been renting, we've had some maintenance nightmares, mostly because we are doing dry vac. We're gonna require the guys to learn how to wet vac so that we can excavate a smaller trench if we're putting in a service or something, so.
Yeah, I'm all for this, but the only thing that stuck out here to me that shocked me was the difference in freight. The ditch, which has twice as much freight cost coming from El Cajon than the one from Vermeer
In North Carolina.
in South Carolina.
Well, it's California.
That kind of shocked me. Well, hell, I'll go down there with Matt and we'll drive that thing back for a lot
If we
less.
can negotiate that, trust me, we will. But let me also explain, these trailers 2 years ago, when this whole process started, because that's about when this starts, these trailers were about 90. Remember last board meeting, we asked for more money coming from a different budget to add to this line item?
Yep.
This was the main reason. I didn't expect these to be as astronomical as they were. So along with you saying the freight on this looks extremely high, I would agree with it. The price on both of these, to me, looks extremely high.
Yeah.
Although, we've got to get used to kind of doing business in California and what we're doing with equipment. As much as we go and replace a backhoe right now or a loader to move dirt, $250,000, when a few years back, we got our new backhoe at $150,000, $145,000. So the times have changed a little bit. It's hard to see these numbers. Trust me, this isn't easy. The mechanic and myself talked about, and Mike and Robert also chimed in. What about going with a smaller vacuum? You know, why are we going to downsize the job in what we do? Why are we going to downsize the job when we need the bigger piece of equipment? Stick with the bigger piece of equipment and get the right equipment.
Get what we need for the future.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
The reason why I ask about the operators is because, you know, we're buying a piece of equipment that they're ultimately going to be stuck using. So I don't know if you gentlemen have had to look at these two machines. If you have any objection of one over the other, I would love to hear it. And Madam President, if I'm talking out of turn.
it's okay.
Okay. But yeah, I would like to know if you have any objections as well. And Steve, would love your input on this, that if one is truly better than the other, I don't care about the money because this is really insignificant amount. I would much rather give you guys the best equipment that you're gonna be happy with instead of a year from now you being like, the board stuck us with this stupid piece of gear, you know, because that can happen and I want your input if you have any.
And I will let them speak. Let me just throw in one comment real quick. One of the better comments about this excavator trailer, because one or the other is tough for them, I think, to answer, but one of the better questions for them to maybe get up and answer is, would you like this excavator trailer or do you want a pothole with a shovel? And I think we're gonna find out that this is,
You can't ask them that way, that's,
well,
That's what the alternative
no,
is.
listen,
Yeah, that's
because when,
basically
as soon
that's
as
the
this
alternative.
excavator
Been there, done
trailer
that.
came to do some of the potholing, and this one's gonna have an automatic arm, so they're gonna have remote access to not hold the vacuum. What I'm trying to do is like, how do I not get somebody hurt and make the equipment do the work? But the Vermeer is not what they've seen. They've seen a smaller ditch witch, so any of them that would like to get up, I'd love to hear.
And I just come at this because I've done engineering operations myself, And there have been times where it's like, oh, we're stuck with the crappy piece of equipment instead of the one that didn't cost that much more, and I would have much rather had that one. So, I mean, if you have any objections like that, I'd love to hear it.
Don't be
Steve,
shy.
would you like to contest about the two when we went down and saw them, especially why did?
Yeah, Steve started off and then you guys think while he's talking about what you want to say.
Especially Tank.
The thing that really impressed me about either one of them, okay, is, already been addressed, is how clean it makes the job, okay, and how quick they can do it. All right, we went down and watched Mission Springs. They had a backhoe, but it was sitting off to the side. They were just putting rocks in the bucket, and that's all they were doing. We went and looked at both. The Ditch Witch, it is built beefier, thicker gauge material. The tires, you look at the tires. Some of you have RVs and trailers and whatnot. Vermeer's putting ST tires on the trailers, which ST is a trailer tire, but they're junk. Okay, I don't know how many of them I've seen blown on the side of the road. Okay, Ditch Witch actually puts an LT tire on their vehicles. All right, Vermeer has a torsion spring suspension, like the valve turner that we have now, like a VW torsion spring. And out here, these roads just beat that up because it doesn't have enough give to it. Okay, the Ditch Witch actually has leaf springs up under their vehicle, their trailer. Okay. One of the main things that I really liked about the Ditch Witch, okay, is I've dealt with that company down there. I think it's Corona. Boy, they're Johnny on the spot. They got me what I needed, when I needed it, whether it was a part or some technical help from their lead technician in the shop. Okay, that one that we rented, okay, had electrical problems with it. I didn't have a manual. I called them up. They provided schematics. They emailed me a copy of the schematics, and I went ahead and fixed it. Things like that. So just the support that goes along with it. Talking about operator training, both Vermeer and the Ditch Witch, both, they have people dedicated to come up and offer training up here to the people that are going to be operating it. So that's about it. Little things. Another little thing about one versus the other is the Ditch Witch. Water tanks, they're black, okay, instead of clear. We have the valve trailer. It has clear tank on it, the clear water tank. Boy, it just, algae grows in there like nobody's business, okay? So just little things like a black tank on the Ditch Witch, okay, too. It won't eliminate it, but it'll reduce the amount of algae that grows in there.
Don't give it all that ultraviolet.
We won't see it.
And Steve, you even mentioned about how thick the metal was on the frame and the quality of the steel and all that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Ditch Witch trailer is no joke. It's good sized.
So for the price we're paying, it's a much better quality trailer than the other one.
Yes. Yeah. As far as the freight goes, the delivery charges and whatnot that you brought up, Director.
Probably the weight.
The Vermeer is actually, they're built in one of two places, either South Carolina or Florida. They're in the process of consolidating operations, but right now they're either built in Florida or South Carolina. So that's freight from where it's being built out to here. Ditch Witch likewise. They're not built in Corona. Okay?
Yeah.
They're built out of state and trucked in. So they're comparable. So.
Okay.
The only question I have is, I'm assuming we have something to pull this with, because it's 24,000-pound trailer?
We do.
We do.
We only have one, but we do.
We do, okay.
The one we bought for him last year?
The dump truck.
No, it's not.
No,
It's not-
the F-550 and the dump truck, so
Yes.
technically we have
The
two that
550.
can pull it.
Cool. Thanks, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Is there, oh, just a second. Is there anything you gentlemen would like to add to what Steve said?
Most of us are very educated on what we're purchasing, to be completely honest.
Well, you're more educated than the board.
And Matt's here
so-
watching us, we don't dare answer.
Just, I think we will, I can say this for all of us, we'll be very appreciative of whatever is recommended by our management. And it'll be very nice, no matter what, we'll appreciate it. no doubt. Hydro excavation is incredibly nice, and it'd be very nice to have that here, so I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the quick jab with the shovel comment, really quick, I'm sorry. I used a shovel for days in a row when we
Yeah.
potholed outside when we were pipelining. So if we had an excavation trailer, I would have why didn't I think of an excavation trailer back in 99?
Yeah, I'm disappointed because you started at the bottom, you've dug the holes.
Right. So I'm trying to save a back or two also.
I just want everyone to
Yeah.
know that we want to buy the best
Yeah.
and support our guys with
I
the
agree.
best,
Yeah.
you know.
Definitely.
I don't really have much. I think Shrike's just trying to make the guy soft, if I'm being honest with them.
Now, you still have to dig.
But one thing that I would say though, I haven't really heard too much of Vermeer, so I've heard a ton about Ditch Witch. If you drive anywhere down the hill or anything like that, I feel like I always see a Ditch Witch somewhere. I've never seen the Vermeer. So it kind of, to me, is like I'm not saying it is, but the China brand of a thing. And the Ditch Witch is more of a name brand piece of equipment, I would think. So I would assume that it would be better than the other. But that's all I really have. Thank you.
Thank you. I would assume too, if many other agencies are using the Ditch Witch, then there's got to be a reason.
Speaks volumes.
Yes, it speaks volumes for it. So, thank you. Thank you. Now, Director Woods.
I move to
Remove.
accept the recommendation of General Manager Schrag and the purchase of the Ditch Witch HX50A.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that we purchase the Ditch Witch, whatever X, I changed the H. Anyway, all those do we do roll call or? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, done. Okay. You guys just have to ask for what you want to get. You're gonna get it, probably. Well, and be able to justify it, which you do. All right, item number 4, consent calendar. Matters under the consent calendar are to be considered routine and will not be enacted upon in a single, or will be enacted in a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the board, the public, or the staff request specific items to be removed for separate discussion and action before the board votes on the motion to adopt. Any questions about that? Those items are the minutes of the regular meeting held on December 20th, 2023, and the audit list that's included with this packet. All right, none? Good. Items number 5.
I make a motion, we adopt the consent calendar.
Well, thank you, Bob. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion to adopt the consent calendar and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Management reports. There are no items removed for discussion, so we're going right on to 6. Management reports. Superintendent Minitry.
Good evening, Board of Directors. The Operation and Maintenance Department performed the following tasks during the month of December 2023. Responded to 58 USAs, responded and repaired 3 water meter leaks. We had 1 fire hydrant repair and maintenance, replaced 10 customer gate valves, performed 7 leak audits, painted 120 fire hydrants, replaced 1 water meter, tested and exercised emergency generators, sounded wells for December. A total of 809 work orders were completed. There were 1,254 past due bills, totaled $9,055.26 in penalty fees. And I want to talk a little bit about the pay meters that we talked about, the water usage. For December 2023, We use roughly 400,000 gallons of water that were purchased at the pay meter. Compared to December of 2022 is real close to the same. There's like 24,000 gallons difference. Where the big difference is 2020 and 2021, pretty much for the whole year of 2020 and for the whole year of 2021, there was 1 million gallons difference that were purchased at the pay meters. In October of 2021, it went down and we stabilized. So it probably due to the pot farms and getting caught and stuff like that. And I also want to talk a little bit about what Matt talked about the reporting. We do a lot of reports in-house, just so that you guys be aware of. Robert and I do, this are just some of them that we do, that we have to report to the Department of Public Health every month. Bacteria report, fluoride report, writing annual average CL2 report for the distribution. We have the treatment plant report, fluoride/arsenic now, that's due every month by the 10th. We have well 11B arsenic report. We also have well 11B fluoride report. We do the clearinghouse every month. It takes everybody involved in the district here to help with their input. Yearly, we do the EAR report that we do, and consumer confidence report. And there's a lot I'm missing. I just wanted to let the board know that there's a lot too that we do, and it takes everybody's input here. The ladies in the office, everybody helping us do that report, especially when it comes to the EAR report and consumer confidence report. But yeah, if the board has any questions, I'd be glad to answer those. And real quick on that note, I wish we had that vacuum truck the other night. We had a leak out in Lear. We're out there with the crew from 3 o'clock till probably midnight, and they never came out to mark the underground USAs for us. So I just had to go around with the group here and figure out, hey, how are we gonna do this? And yeah, it would have been a huge tool for us because it would have acted as a vacuum tube for us, not only as for pothole, but to vacuum the water out as you're trying to get down there and shut a valve off while it's live and you're 100 pounds out there. So I'm all for that. I'm excited. It's going to save a lot of backs, like the general manager said. And I do appreciate the board helping us get the tools that we need to be successful. And I want to say thank you. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
On behalf of the board, you're very welcome. That's what we're here for.
Exactly.
Heck, we should give the sheriff that metrics on that water so they can show, what was that program they were doing to shut down the illegal grows?
Yeah.
That would be a benchmark for them. Look what we did.
So we've identified 1 million gallons going out.
A metric.
We just think it's from the growers.
Yeah.
What scares me is how much that was stolen that went out.
And for the general manager, and that's what, on the scheme of things.
On all the
it's
other
small.
places.
It's not much, but imagine though, you have to haul that water from the pay meters. 1 million gallons is, I mean, the most is nearly
That's a lot of
2,000 gallons in a water truck. And a lot of these guys are filling, what, 500 gallons or so up? That's a lot of trips back and forth. And that slowed down tremendously. I mean, it's.
So 1 million gallons a year, or a month, times 12 is 12 million gallons. If the treatment plant's producing 2 million gallons a day, that's 6 days of production.
Yeah.
So in the scheme of things, as far as production-wise, what we're not spending at the pay meter station, I think Bob's example is very important though. What was getting stolen from meters and unmetered situations was probably more than we understood.
Yeah.
And you gotta remember, so when we do production at the production wells, and then we subtract what we put out as billing, we come up with a water loss. We don't really have, last year we had 3 mainline leaks, and the year before that we had 2. We don't really have a great explanation on why we have water loss like we do. And even to this point, with those marijuana farms down, the water loss out is really small, but there's still a large part that we don't know. Where are we losing water if we're not having water leaks? So
That's a large part of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
has to be.
So back then, that pay meter, you couldn't tell who was hauling all the water out of there, could you? Wasn't that tokens back then?
Oh, back then, they would actually use Chuck E. Cheese tokens and.
Yeah, so, but now they're all on a card, so we'd know which vendors were
Yeah.
hauling more water than the previous year. And you go, huh, look, look who's probably hauling.
Absolutely.
And with the upgrade, we're on key fobs now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know
Got a better-
who's
better
harvesting the water from the pay stations.
And during the summertime, it was a line all the way out to Utah Trail.
Yeah,
And,
I watched some of the trucks.
Yeah, it's pretty. And we actually just recently got campers out there too, so I'm kind of
Good.
blessed that we have that out there now.
Good deal.
All right, any other comments or questions, or thank you, Mike? Where are we at now?
Superintendent Schultz.
All right, moving on to, water quality, Robert. Why didn't you raise your hand? That would have helped me.
I did, I raised it.
Oh, sorry.
Just read.
I wasn't looking.
Water quality report, chlorine levels, the average maintained through the distribution system, average 0.41 milligrams per liter. Bacteria samples, a total of 40 samples were taken from the distribution system, all came back absent for call alert. Fluoride samples, we had a total of 15 samples collected from the distribution system, and the fluoride averaged at 1.45 milligrams per liter. Water production for December 2023 was down to the prior year 0.78% and down from 2013 1.92%. Kind of closed up a little bit.
Any questions or comments for Superintendent Sheldon? Randy, or Director Leeser, excuse me.
Randy's
Director
I have
Cockhill.
no. Thank you, Robert.
I have nothing. Thank you, Robert. All right, finance, Ms. Cindy Byron.
Good evening. For the month of November, primarily what I want to focus on is, you might have seen all that activity going on, ins and outs between the different investments. We've been talking about class. So you see a lot of going into class. And we also established a separate pension OPEB, not a trust, but a separate account in class so it can earn its own interest. And then as the market is starting to change and PARS is starting to have a positive return, I think after the election, then we look at, is everything going to level off and can we start investing back in that PARS trust as opposed to in class? But we have budgeted the money, set it aside. Is my point on that. On our profit and loss, our income statement, on line 8, just in summary, I would say we're at 79% of the year, meaning for net revenues to fund capital expenditures. That's fantastic. A lot of that is due to our interest revenues are almost double what we budgeted in November. So that's the result of those CDs maturing. We're getting that money over into class as fast as we can. We got the money out of LAIF. So that's helped also higher than anticipated capital contributions for new connections, as well as other things. The timing of vacation and sick payouts, which happened in December. Is that correct? So those haven't happened yet, and that's why we're looking so great. Will we end the year at 79%? No, but we'll end the year better than we had planned. That much I can tell.
Good.
And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Director Woods? Director Arthur? Director Leeser?
None.
Director Coghill?
No. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Then don't raise your hand. All right, and next we have General Manager Matt Schreiber.
I'll be quick. Early this month, I just wanted to let you know ESG Engineering and Michael Thomas helped the district get an RFP out for a redundant reservoir at the treatment plant. Tomorrow is the mandatory walkthrough for that service, for the engineering services. So that's exciting to me to see a big job go to bid. Engineers' estimates about $250,000 just for engineering. We'll roll right into the project after we get engineering done into an RFP for the build of the redundant reservoir. I don't know what that price will look like, but building the second reservoir, building redundancy is very important. One of the things that I've been working with this last month with the city, interim city manager Larry Bowden and I have really been trying to make sure that that grant funding from the federal grant source is going to be for this community. So re-talks with USGS and trying to get this money stayed in the community. Remember, the USGS report is a water report, that if we don't have to pay the full 1.5 million is what I'm seeing for the new number, that would be great to fund this through the USGS study and the earmark money, also for the city and wastewater. So I've been working with Larry on that. I wanted to give a quick thanks to Robert and Mike and field staff. In January, we did a media switch out at the plant. For you, that is a very intensive workout. We have to go inside the vessels to get this media out and bail it out to each other. The vacuum trailer is going to be very nice if we can utilize it in there. But I wanted to thank them because I know Robert said with us systematically coming out with a way to now do this, we've done this so many years now, this was one of the better switch outs that they've ever had, and kind of one of the quicker switch outs. So that was really exciting to hear. The new emergency generator over at Lupine is installed, and we have test fired. I know we're waiting on some permits to come back through AQMD. So we've got now a stationary generator that stays there full time. So that's exciting because we're working on building redundancy, meaning our generators can go to wells and our booster stations are going to have generators permanently there. So
hopefully they can.
I just wanted to congratulate Cindy Folks. Cindy completed a California Special District's Essential Leadership Skills Certificate. And why that's important is her and I have been going back for about a year on how do we get started in some of these classes and some of these webinars. Well, Cindy found that time where Matt has not found that time. So one, I'm very excited that she took the time to get this certificate. And I just wanted to personally say thank you to her, because I know in our daily task, we still try to find things to better ourselves and better this district. Those kind of things with special districts better our district. And so I wanted to personally thank her. And if the board has any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Question, Director Wood?
No.
Director Arthur?
None.
Director Leeser?
Thank you.
Director Coghill? Thank you, Matt.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Cindy, for all the work you do for all of us. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Yes. All right. Are there any future agenda items and/or staff task directors' comments and a report that you would like to see on our next?
Are we planning a joint meeting with Triumph City Council as we discussed when Larry Bowden was here last time?
I would like to see
I
that
talked about
scheduled too. Regarding, I know what I want regarding, do you have any specific topics that you want brought up at that meeting?
Well, yes. I went to the city council meeting last night, and they did approve a study. The council approved a study on self-help homes, 10 to 20 lots in 29 Palms, for the purpose of assisting with people building homes on lots that would be donated. It's just one question, but I know that we had talked, Larry had talked about it last time and said that, and Matt had, that it would be a good idea to have a joint agency meeting.
And just so you know, a joint agency meeting would have to be public. They'd have their 5 board, we'd have our 5 board, so it'd be probably more public, just for Brown Act, and yeah, but definitely something.
We do that with the school district, with Copper Mountain.
Oh, okay.
We hold 2 a year. They're joint board meetings that are public. It just takes the place of a regular board meeting.
Oh, okay.
I would like to see minimum, one a year. I'd like to see it on a yearly basis, meeting with the city and develop a closer relationship.
I will tell you, their city manager position did close on the 18th. They had quite a few applicants. I don't know the process. I know Carol and I have spoke, and would also like to let the city know that if they're interested in having anybody on the hiring committee, or at least to hear what they're doing, it's something that we're interested in. And building that relationship is definitely something, especially with wastewater, protection of groundwater, that is high on my priority. Mm-hmm. So the new city manager will see me often. Larry and I are working probably every day together on certain tasks, mostly with wastewater, but not if an issue comes up that the district and the city have always been able to help, we've always been there. And like I've always stood up at city council meetings and said, as small water agency in a small city, the reason both are successful is because we've always been here to help each other. So we continue to build those relationships, then yes. And again, it needs to stay positive. And I think Larry being here was trying to show this council really wants to go across there and figure out how we do things as a group in 29 Palms. And it's not things kind of that seem like might have been going on at the beginning of wastewater talks in LAFCO. And so bringing the board and the council together would be a great idea. Yes.
I'd like to see someone from this board be on their interview board for the city
Well, I
manager.
actually spoke to Mr. Bowden about that last night. He said they had 15 applicants and the city council was doing all of the interviewing themselves. That
I'd like
I'm just saying that's what he said they were doing. They were conducting it all inside.
Darn. Anyway, okay.
And
Yeah, I'd love to look at those resumes.
LAFCO said they wanted us to cooperate, so.
Yes.
And again, our comment, especially with LAFCO, is we will continue
We will
to cooperate
continue,
in a small community that is
Exactly.
successful, both with water and the community that we provide the services to.
Yippers.
So just out of curiosity,
Sir.
where would this meeting be held? Because
Be a discussion.
our office is a little small for two meetings, or for two councils.
Ours is, I believe you could make it work at theirs.
Really?
When we do it with the school district, we rotate. So we do it in the fall and in the spring. So one time we go to CMC's board room, and one time they come to where we hold our board meetings at Joshua Tree Elementary.
We've done it here before. We've had meetings with the city council before here in this building, and there seems to be plenty of room because not a lot of the public shows up. But if the public did show up, we could make
We could double up and get 10 people up here on the dais.
Yeah.
For sure. And the new Project Phoenix building is also a conference center.
Oh, that's right.
If we had to open up
We
to a
could use that
bigger
new city facility.
constituents, I'm
Joint
sure
meeting elsewhere,
that
yeah.
the city manager would look at that and say, hey, that's a great option, so,
I forgot
That's a
about
good
that
idea.
building.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, all of our tax dollars, we need to utilize that building. Most of us forget about it,
I did.
so. All right, are there any other items anyone would like to discuss or bring up? All right. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Did you second?
I second.
Yes.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. This meeting is adjourned.